Hi YouTube family, it's Sarah, and it is another pre-surgery video from me today. Today I wanted to sort of revisit a couple of videos that I made for my 6-month surgery. One was called 5 Keys to Weight Loss Surgery Success, and one was like my top 10 weight loss surgery tips, or I don't know if it was top 10, but just 10 weight loss surgery tips. And I'm going to put a link to both of those original videos in the description box below, so you can go back and watch them if you're interested. But I thought I would kind of go back over them and see whether I had kind of changed my mind on anything and combine them into one video just to make it a little bit easier and maybe not expand on each thing as much. But shocker. Really, I feel exactly the same way about what I talked about at 6 months out, about what I think are the important sort of keys to weight loss surgery success. And I think I'm going to add a couple of tips to my tips list, but let's get into it. So I think the weight loss surgery keys are, I don't know that I'm ever going to change my mind about how I feel about this, but you never know. Maintenance changes things, but for now, the first one was, I called it Knowledge is Power, and it was basically research. And I still believe that research is very important. I believe that it's not just important pre-operatively, but it's important throughout your journey. It's important to stay on top of new research and medical information out there. It's important to stay on top of things about fitness and nutrition. It's important to be in touch with other people in the community and see what's working for them. The more you know, the better and more efficiently you can make decisions for yourself or decide about things you want to try or things you want to avoid. There's never going to be a downside to learning and continuing to learn throughout this journey. So I do still think that's a very important one. Number 2 was fail to plan, plan to fail. And that was about planning. Again, I still plan my food on a daily basis. I especially try and plan when I'm going to be out of the house. I plan when I'm going to a big event, all of that stuff. While I may be not as strict as I used to be on planning, I do still think it's really, really important. And I think the further out you get, the easier it is to be complacent and say, oh, well, there'll be something at the party that I can eat. Just because you can eat it doesn't mean that you should eat it. And I've even still lately found myself in situations where I thought this would be a lot easier if I had brought something with me, or if I remembered to think about this before I showed up at this party or this event and realized there was nothing useful for me to eat. So I still do think it's really important to plan, to keep things on hand. I keep protein bars in my purse, in my car, whether it's protein bars or jerky or protein shakes or whatever it is, some kind of healthy snack or meal that you can have in case of emergency. As far as planning every day, I know that that's not for everyone, but for me it really helps to keep me on track. I may not stick to my plan exactly every day, but I feel comfortable having it there to fall back on. Number 3 was write it down, and that was about tracking. And I'm sure you guys know I'm still big into tracking. I still do think it's really important to my journey. Just observing other people's journeys, I find that people who track tend to be more successful, tend to lose more weight. I don't know if I should say be more successful, because everyone defines success differently, but tend to lose more weight more quickly than others. That's just personal observation. That may or may not be true, but again, I've talked about tracking a lot. I don't know. Everybody underestimates what they eat, how much they eat, and all that sort of thing. And weighing and measuring and all of that actually comes into this as well, and I do think that's also very important. But you will overestimate if you don't actually track. Even when you track, or I should say you will underestimate. Even when you track, people underestimate. But at least you've got some kind of baseline. It also is very helpful if you have any kind of problem, or if you hit a stall, or you're wondering how you're doing. If you go to your doctor or your nutritionist and you can't show them how you're eating, then it's going to be a lot harder for them. And it's going to be a lot harder for you if you're trying to figure out what your issue might be, or what's going on if you don't know what you've been eating. So I still highly, highly recommend tracking, whether that's with an app like MyFitnessPal, whether you write it down in a journal, whether you take photos every day, whatever it is, just track in some kind of way so that you know where you're at. Get by with a little help from your friends was number 4, and that was about support. I do think support is a super integral part of being successful on this journey, and especially in maintaining your success as well. You guys know, I don't know where I'd be without those people in my life, in the community, who support and uplift me. And I at this point, I don't know what more I can say because I talk about it all the time, but find people who you connect with, whether it's on YouTube, on Facebook, in an online support group, in a local support group, however you need to do it. Find at least 1 or 2 people who, you have something in common with, who you get along with. You don't always have to be talking about weight loss surgery to be getting support. Just being with people and talking to people who understand where you've come from and understand what you're struggling with, whether you're talking about weight loss or not, doesn't matter, because there is that understanding between you. A lot of times if I'm hanging out or chatting with, my friends in this community, we aren't talking about weight loss. We're not talking about what we're eating. A lot of times we're just talking about regular everyday stuff. But because we're all coming from this point where we understand each other and our struggles and what we've been through, all of that helps. All of that helps. So that's a big one for me, support. The very last one is you gotta want it. And that's about commitment. And I've made multiple videos about commitment, how important it is, and I still believe it. Hey, it's my alarm again. Can you tell I make videos at the same time of day? You do have to really want this. It's not easy. It's very challenging. And unless you're super committed, it is very easy to just fall off the wagon. You have to want it. You have to want it enough to go through, the hardships, to learn how to say no to things, to make sacrifices. And if you don't, everything becomes that much harder as well, because you don't have that strong commitment to fall back on. And being committed is not easy. But it all comes down to what it's worth to you. Is it worth going back to where you were? A lot of times, you get the advice of thinking about why you started. And I think that's really great. And I have another, in my tips section, I'm going to talk about that, about a tool to sort of help you remember why you started. So those were my 5 keys to weight loss. Let me try that again. My 5 keys to weight loss surgery success, or weight loss success in general. And I still believe in all of those things. Absolutely. Let's go to top 10 tips, shall we? Or I don't know if they're really top 10 tips. They're not in order, but just 10 tips that I would suggest just based on my own journey. So I'm going to do the old 10 tips and I'm going to add a couple of more. The first one was take lots of photos, and I'll add to that also take measurements. I didn't really do that. I regret not doing it, especially before. I don't even have a picture of me at my highest weight, or at least not one where you can see my whole body. The only body shot I have is after I had lost 40 pounds and right before my surgery. I didn't take any photos of me in my bra and underwear, so I could actually see the changes in my body. I regret that. So document. There will be a time when it will be very important to you, even if it doesn't seem important right now. Keep at least 1 item of pre-op clothing. You want to be able to do that. You want to be able to see where you've come from and do the both legs in one pant leg shot and all that, or you and your spouse in your shirt or whatever it is. I kept the, again, I don't really have stuff for my highest weight, but I kept the pants in the shirt that I wore the night before my surgery. And I will be modeling those in my 1-year post-op body shot video. So stay tuned for that. What else? Find friends to keep you accountable. That has to do with the support thing as well. But I think accountability is important too. Find friends that will be honest with you and will keep you in line. Sometimes I think when we care about someone, we have the tendency to just sort of always try and be positive with them. And you need a friend that's not going to be like, oh, you ate a chocolate cake yesterday. Well, stuff happens. So you need a friend to be like, listen, that was ridiculous. There's no way you should have done that. Why did that happen? Don't let it happen again, but you know what? It's done now, so let's move forward. How can I help you to not make that kind of decision again. Okay, that's the kind of friends that you need. You don't just need the ones that are going to be like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, don't beat yourself up. You need someone who's going to be real and straight with you. So that's, I guess, the other part of the support conversation. Figure out what motivates you and take advantage of it. Everyone is motivated by something different. And when I talked about commitment, motivation is the thing that keeps you on track, right? So for some people, keeping old photos of themselves around is motivation. For some people, they find their motivation through other people and celebrating other people's successes. There's all kinds of things that can help motivate you. So what you need to do is to try and identify for yourself what it is that motivates you the most, and then harness that in your journey to help you be successful. Find a fitness activity you love and then try lots of new stuff too. So I think this is really important when it comes to fitness. You need to find the things that you really enjoy and you need to do those things, but also you don't want that to get kind of stagnant. So even if you say, I love running, but I'd really like to try CrossFit, or I'd really like to try Zumba, or whatever it is. Find the thing that you love and do that thing, but then keep trying new things as well. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep pushing your boundaries. If it's safe and comfortable, then, it's probably not going to be exciting for very long. So definitely get out there and try new things, even though it's hard. It's hard for me too, but I've never regretted trying something new and pushing the envelope and trying to get over that fear and that uncomfortableness. Set mini goals associated with non-food rewards. So I think it is important to have small goals, not just a big goal to get to, and reward yourself when you reach those small goals, but don't reward yourself with food. We're not dogs. We don't need food rewards. That doesn't mean that you can't have a treat, and I think that sometimes we kind of confuse those things. It doesn't mean that you can't ever have something off plan or whatever. But there's a difference between making a choice to eat something off plan on a certain day and using that food as a reward for something. And that's, I think, the behavior that is dangerous. So definitely set those mini goals. Give yourself a reward. It doesn't have to be even a physical thing or something that you buy or spend money on. It could just be an experience that you really like, or something that you don't get a chance to do very often. It could just be like, you know what, I'm going to have a day to myself. I'm going to kick everyone out of the house and I'm going to tell them I just need to have time for myself or whatever it is. Sorry, my nose is running because it's cold. So yeah, make mini goals and give yourself mini rewards that aren't food. And then talking about goals, I think it's really important to have a big hairy goal, as I like to call it. So it is important to have a big goal, an aggressive goal. You want your goal to be something that you feel like you can achieve, but something that you have to push yourself to achieve, for sure. And then have a big reward that goes along with it. For a lot of people, that's great motivation. For me, it was actually supposed to be a trip to New Orleans. And I kind of got around that, and I'm already doing that. So now it is actually going to be a trip to Grove City, Pennsylvania, where they have a huge set of outlet malls to go shopping to buy new clothes when I actually get to goal. So that's my big reward that hopefully will help motivate me to get to goal. I still have a ways to go. Share your journey with others. This kind of goes along with the support thing and the friendship thing, but I think sharing your journey is really important, because the more you talk about your own journey, the more it helps you to understand what you're going through and also to recognize how far you've come. Sometimes we get up in our own heads and we just think about what, I don't know. We don't really give ourselves credit. And the more you talk about it, I think the more you can sort of recognize how far you've come. Make an NSV jar is another thing I've talked about, and that goes along with the same thing. Make a jar. Every time you have an NSV, put a little slip of paper, write it down. And if you're having a bad day or you're feeling a lack of motivation, pull it out and go through all the amazing things that have happened. And I guarantee it will make you feel way better. My last one was appreciate every step in your journey. Obviously, you guys know that's a big thing for me, and I still think that's important. The other two that I put down was take advantage of technology, use the fitness tracker, apps, anything like that you can use. I find those things really helpful. And the last one was to make a video to yourself or write yourself a letter prior to surgery. I think that is something that can actually really help with reminding you of why you started. I know I wrote myself a letter before surgery. I'm going to make a video of me reading it on my surgiversary. And I think that going back to that is really going to help to remind me of why I started. And that always helps to motivate you to complete your journey and to get to your goals. So Until next time, which will be tomorrow, remember, it's not just about what you've lost, it's about what you've gained. Bye, guys.